This is Valcamera from Dreamlight. Welcome to this quick demonstration of Iray Magic Lightbox for DAZ Studio. So this is a quick light set slash effect thingy, and it gives you remarkable results and renders straight out of the box because it's just pre-calibrated and completely done, pre-done for you. So when you have it installed, you just go to DAZ Studio Formats, and bear in mind I'm inside DAZ Studio 4.8, but I'm browsing the DAZ Studio 4.7, my library. The DAZ Studio 4.8 beta version installs under my DAZ 3D library, but I've installed this 4.8 light set inside my 4.7 my library folder. So just so you know, so DAZ Studio Formats, my library, go to Dreamlight, locate Iray. There's a lot of folders in here. Iray, okay. Iray Magic Lightbox, and you've got 5 icons in here. One is the full version, which loads with 3 fog layers. I'm going to show you that in just a second. Then you've got here the Hell on Earth version, which is similar to the main version. It also has 3 layers, but it's all red tinted. It's kind of like a hellish version of it. Then we have no fog version, no fog effects, really quick to render. And then we have a single fog version, a single fog layer, which means it's a little bit less thick, but it renders a little bit quicker. Then we have I throw in a small bonus here called the White Room bonus, which is an exceptional way of getting super soft lighting and shadows, and I'm going to show you that later. It's just remarkable. So really what you do here is you double click on the version you want to load, and these 4 top versions are pretty much similar to each other. Besides that, these 2 at the last here at the right have fewer fog layers. I'm going to show you how that works. So I want to load the full version first, and immediately it loads and it's ready to render off straight out the box. So just go to Iray Preview, and it immediately kicks in and shows the lights being previewed just right away. Everything is calibrated for you. Just throw in a character right in the middle of the scene, and it's going to be ready to render. Alright, let me pause the preview thing. Alright, so basically what you have now in your scene is the camera, which is the one we are looking through right now. You've got the special Iray Magic Lightbox, and you've got something called Light Aim. I'm going to go back to that in just a second. Alright, so I'm going to expand this little fella here. You can see it says rotate all. What does it mean? Well, it means if you add a character to your scene, I'm going to do that in just a second, you can select that rotate all item and go to parameter tab and the wide rotate, and rotate the whole thing, which is going to rotate around your character. Okay, so you can decide that, oh, hey, I don't want to rotate my character, I want to rotate the set. I'm going to undo that and go back. So that's what the rotate all is for. Now I'm going to expand further. We got a few sections here: room, fog, spotlights, floor, main emissive lights, effect emissive lights. What is it with me in folders and null objects? Just love them. I love the structure. It gives order. Okay, so first of all, we got a room. There's a black room in here that kind of surrounds everything, and it's a black surfaced item that doesn't catch any lighting at all. It's just there to provide a black backdrop. Okay, then we have, if you expand here, you got 3 fog layers. Pretty much the far is has the most distance from the camera, obviously. Then we got one medium, which is semi far away, and then we got one that's pretty near the camera. What these do, if you move the camera around, you can sense their structure like this, and if you are in here inside, it's meant for being inside here, you see that the fog kind of shifts and moves. Same thing if you zoom out here, and you go to the other way here, and you zoom in, and you start moving the camera around. You can sense all the fog layers doing their job. It's like 3D, right? You're moving and shifting. And the thing is, you can, turn these off. You can click on the eye icon here, like turn away the near one, turn away the medium one. You can even turn off the far one. Now here's the catch. This usually works, but it doesn't really work with Iray. For some weird reason, although you tick this eye icon, they kind of stick in the scene anyway and produce awkward effects like shadows or ghost shadows or whatever. So I don't recommend you do this, although you can. If you want to remove them, just click on it, right click, right, and choose delete. Okay? Same thing if you don't want this medium one, just right click on it, choose delete. That easy. And pretty much what these are here, the full version loads with all 3 fog effects. Okay? The single fog loads with just the far one, and the no fog loads with, you guessed it right, with no fog effects at all. It doesn't even have the fog folder. Okay, so I'm gonna go back in here. I'm gonna show you some more examples, because each of these objects can be adjusted, manually. So if you want to make adjustments to this fog layer, you can go ahead and rotate that fog layer separately. You can rescale it up and down. You can even scale it on the y-axis, so it goes up and down. So you have a lot of options in there you can play with. You can change the color of them, and have really fun with them. So then we have spotlights. There are 3 of them. These are photomatic spotlights. It's a key light and 2 backlights for a character or more characters in your scene. Then we got a floor. The floor is a cool thing because it's circular, it fades away, it's really nice, and it's reflective. And you can decide to, I'm going to show that in just a second. You can decide to increase its diffusion so it, catches more light, or you can bring down. Right now it's set to very, very low value. I'm going to show that in just a second. Set to diffuse 10. If you lower that even more, it's going to be completely black reflective. So you can choose that as well. Okay, then we have, and bear in mind, these fog effects, they emit light. Okay, so the fog emits lighting. Now, I'm going to click on the main emissive lights. We got a fill light. That's the fella up here. You can sense it. Then we got the big ceiling light, which is a light up here in the ceiling. Let me zoom out a little bit. So it kind of gives an overhead, nice, soft lighting on everything, which is good if you want to have that. You can turn it off, you can adjust it, of course. Then we can move here, and you've got stripes, backlight. Currently, this is set, a little bit behind the character, and it can provide awesome. This is a light source. You can do a lot of things with it. You can move it in your scene, obviously, right? You can rotate it all the way you want. You can even rotate like this. Okay, you can also do a scale on it. You can do individual axis scale. All right, so you can it's really cool. And by the way, if you want more of these effects, you can just go to the content library, and I've got a folder in here called Iray Magic Lightbox Objects. Oh, here they are, and you can just click on, for instance, stripes backlight. If you click here, you're gonna get another one. So you can have as many as you like. Okay, it's just pre-made for one, just for now. Okay, so pretty much I'm just gonna undo these for a few times, something like that. Okay, then we've got one more thing here. It's the fan backlight. This is also a emissive light source, an object that illuminates your scene and casts lighting. So this is a fan, First of all, you can rotate it, really cool. Okay, you can rotate it, you know, like that, angle it in your scene. Obviously you can scale it to make it larger. Just don't bump into the floor. That's a bad idea, bumping things into the floor. But I mean, you can just raise it so it doesn't bump into the floor. How cool is that? Alright, so you can of course squeeze it if you want to. Okay, pretty cool. Alright. Okay, so I don't want this video to be like 1 hour long, so I'm just gonna give you a quick overview of, let's start with this fan backlight. So you click on it in the scene tab, head to surfaces, editor sub tab, click on it here. Pretty much the only thing you need to worry about is the emission color. Leave the emission temperature at 6.5 Kelvin. That co-works with some other settings so that you can play with the emission color. So if you want to change it to something else, well, let's change it to something else, and it's changed. It's that easy. Then you got the emission, the luminous here. That is how strong it lights your scene. Now bear in mind, if you increase that value, it will, you know, give you more lighting in your scene, but we also make this item glow more in itself. Okay. Then you've got a handy thing here called cutout opacity. You can adjust this slider to tone it down and override this, this luminous thing, right? Okay, so you can play with those effects. Now, same thing with the stripes. Select it in the scene tab, in the surfaces tab, in the editor sub tab, click on here. And well, you can adjust this thing to fade if you like, if you want to. Then you have color, right? Color. Go here to emission color again. Leave emission temperature, the Kelvin, on 6.5. Here emission color, and you can choose whatever you like that will emit that kind of lighting onto your scene. This is like a light source. It's really, really cool. Alright, so what else do we have here? Well, it's a super cool function. At the very bottom you have horizontal tiles. This is designed, it fades as you see on the edges, so you can draw, you can increase the horizontal tiles and get more of these squeezed into the scene. So you can have a lot of these just automatically created for you. Now use even numbers and they will just fade perfectly on the edges. They're designed to fade. So now we got 6, right? And we can rescale it, and you've got a huge light source that is providing light, and if you render it, you know, hits the floor and shines. So it's really, really cool. Okay, so let me pause that. And wireframe. Oh, let's just shoot texture shade. That's okay. So it doesn't preview. Okay, so moving on now, we've got the big ceiling light. That is basically a huge light source. And again, you can just click on in scene tab in the surfaces here and editor sub tab. Click on here. You can change the color, emission color. If you want to have a different color, just do it. And you have luminous, which is intensity. That's how easy it is. Fill light, same thing. It's preset right now over here. It aims at the spot. I'm going to show you the spot in just a second. But you have here kind of an area light looking thingy. Okay. Same thing. Select it here. Change emissive color to something else if you need to. And luminous, which is intensity. Okay, so we got the circular floor. I already showed you that. You can increase the diffusion. Let me show you that again. You can increase the diffusion here. It's 10 by default. If you go back to 0, you're gonna have a really dark floor. It's gonna be pitch dark, but it's still gonna be reflective. But it's pitch dark. We cannot see the floor. Then, if you like to, You can also go ahead and choose, you know, a super bright floor like 100, and when you render that, it's gonna catch a little bit more light. So it's up to you. As you can see, it fades really nicely. It doesn't have a hard edge. It fades into the, you know, the backdrop. Super cool. All right, so it's up to you how you want to have that floor looking. I leave the control up to you. By default, at 10. Okay, so we got the spotlights. These are just normal spotlights. They are made a little bit larger. So if you take a look at them, the backlight top, which is up here at the top here, pretty much on top of the characters. If you take a look at it, it has a shape of a disc. So it's not a, it's not a sharp one. It's a little bit soft, and you got the softness here if you like to choose and change that. Same thing with the backlight, left. It's a backlight, set for your characters from the left side currently. You can look through these lights that will show what they are aiming at. Same thing there. You can go ahead and adjust the spread angle, light tint, of course, on both. You got light angle, you can adjust that. Then you've got again the disc shape and the softness of the shadows. If you increase the size of this disc, it's gonna be a larger light source and gonna provide a little bit softer lighting. Shadows. Right, and the final one is the key one, is from the front. So you can see it's up here, gives the main lighting on the character, and it's the same thing. I don't need to even show. It has a little bit larger disc. Again, light tint, spread angle, can adjust that, and the size is here a little bit larger and softer. So now we've got the fog. As I show you each fog layer, you can delete them by clicking on the eye icon, but I don't recommend it. I recommend if you don't want to use it, then delete it from the scene, because otherwise it can just get it just interferes with the array. It doesn't really work out well. So this is a fog effect, and what you can do with it, you can of course obviously rotate it, selecting the scene tab, then you got Y rotate. Okay, it's faded on the edges, so if you like to just tone in, you can just rotate until it fades. Same thing on the other hand, on the other side. It's really useful for that. You can rescale it on the Y scale, up and down. Super useful. Obviously you can change the color. You can go in here, click on it in the scene tab, go to surfaces, click on here. It emits light. So choose the light, emission color, change to something else if you wanna. And you've got the luminous, how strongly it projects the lighting. Then you can also do the cutout, opacity, and fade it into your scene if you want a little bit less of it. All three work the same, and that's pretty much it, guys. Now I'm gonna show you a really cool thing. If you add a primitive, let's say a cube, to our scene right here, and you're gonna just make it a little bit smaller in size, but scale it up so it's kind of kind of tall, like a figure. This is like a figure, right? Almost 2 meters high, like 180 or something. Now if I switch to wireframe, you can see there is a thing in here right in the middle of it called here lighting. That is a handy thing, because if I zoom out a little bit, you can see the light here, number 1, number 2, and you've got number 3 here, and you've got the filler, which is not visible right now, but is also affected. I'm going to show you in a second. all these lights, if I move that light aim, they are moving and following it. Why is it cool? Well, if you add a character and it's not in the center, you can just move it and aim it whatever you like. So you can just move your character to whatever you like, and then move the light aim or parent the light aim to a character. If you have 2 or 3 characters, you can make sure that this thing is placed right in the middle of your group. Okay, so it kind of connects everything. So if you go to light, you can see the auto aims. So if I move this light thing, it automatically follows and aims it. Okay. Now, same thing occurs with the fill, which is here. The fill light is kind of an area light type lighting. If I use texture so you can see it, same thing happens there. If I move that, this light automatically follows. You can see how it changes. It's really cool. Awesome. So that's pretty much, how easy it is to use. You can just design it all the way you like. You can remove items completely from a scene. You can change the color, intensity, and have really fun with it. Now, there is a special white room version, like I said. That one is just super easy to use. You just simply load it into a scene, throw in whatever you like in the center, hit render. It's that easy. If you don't believe me, well, let's do that. Let's load the white room. Let's load a, for instance, sphere. All right, and let's hit render, and it's that easy. It's a white room. It starts glowing after a while. It initiates during rendering and just glows and grows upon it, and it gets progressively a little bit lighter and brighter. And what it does, it just gives tremendous, super nice, soft lighting. And it's not meant for a white item, right? It's meant for an item like a Vicky in there, but it just gives amazing soft lighting and soft shadows. And guys, this is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're gonna enjoy Iray Magic Lightbox for DAZ Studio. I for sure enjoyed making it, and I see you next time.